Start the recording. I'm gonna start streaming. I've already put out a blast. Some people should be filing in, hopefully, eventually. And then we'll
Paris.
we can
Well,
get
Paris, you bet.
I haven't seen him in a while.
Yeah. You and everyone else. No, I actually just saw him last summer. He's been, I'm not actually sure what he's doing, but he's off in Virginia somewhere doing something or other.
Huh?
But he came back to a couple of events over the summer.
Oh, that's cool. Yeah, I always liked him.
Yeah, he's a good dude.
I was like, I haven't seen him in years. That's crazy.
Mm-hmm. Do you recognize the other guy in here, Ludovic?
I do not. I might recognize
He's,
him by face, but certainly not by the name.
Yeah. He's probably one of the best fencers in Athelmark, but I don't think he gets around the same way that like I or Will have.
Aha. Not as much international fame.
Yes.
As of
Needs
right
to-
now, who do you think is the best fencer practicing?
The best fencer practicing
Out
in
of
the SCA?
Athelmark, yeah. No, out of
Oh, out of Athelmark.
Yeah. Like, who would you throw if you were had to pick? Like, this is the person I'm going to send out for champs fight because I think for one pass they have the best chance to win. Assuming you did not know your opponent, right? You're not like picking a matchup.
Yeah. I want to say Master Iago, partly because he is extremely good, and also because he's unassuming, and I think people would underestimate him.
Okay. Yeah.
He's one of a handful of people that if I ran into them in a tournament, odds on them,
Aha.
like solidly, yeah, 60%, 70% chance he wins.
Okay. Yeah, that's a big gap for fencing purposes.
Yeah.
And where do you rank yourself in Athelmark?
Ooh,
I mean,
I
hard
say like tier 2, like yeah. So there's like Iago, Ludovic is real good. So is Cluin, and then a lot of it comes down to day to day, right? Like if I'm having a good day, they're having a bad day. Yeah, I'd say if I'm having a good day, in contention with the top, but most of the time not quite there.
Okay.
We'll definitely have to poke you about kind of the Athelmark, inside baseball because
Yeah.
we're just outsiders looking in.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm happy to share.
Well, it's kind of our favorite thing to do. So.
Yeah. It's very
What's that?
interesting.
Get a read on the different fencing communities.
Yeah. I think we also like, or at least I won't speak for. Well, I'm pretty sure Bumi agrees with this. I like to put people on the spot too a little bit and be like, who's good, who's mad, just like give people's opinion.
Yeah.
Definitely makes for
I'm here for it.
a good conversation. That is.
Keeps things a little spicy.
Yeah. That's basically how Bumi and I became friends. So.
What's that?
Just talking about fencing and having these kind of like ranking conversations. I mean, we also became friends because we fenced, but we started a conversation about like who the best fencers were in the SCA period. And I feel like we really bonded over that conversation specifically.
So I'm curious, where do you two rank yourselves in that ladder?
And over the whole SCA?
Yep.
I think Toritaka is the best fencer in the SCA by a decent margin.
Seconded.
And then I put myself just after him. I mean, well, like I said, after that margin, after him, and then I think I just edged Bumi out. I would have him as third.
And we talked about this. There are some unknowns because John and I play in a fairly big pool because we play like between Texas and East Coast, but that's still not even in just the scope of SCA play, that doesn't encompass the West. And there's some strong fighters out in the West.
Yeah, in the West, the West Coast is kind of the part where we don't have a lot.
Yeah,
as much data because
I don't actually think we would not stand out as much in that circle. I think I could be wrong, but like Thorn and Nightshade, there's a few others that I've not fought, but I know they're very good. Like I know Vareth is very good, and so forth. But
have you fought Illidor from Athelmark? Do you know Illitor?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. She I know she's gone out into the West and kicked everyone's ass.
Yeah, that's great.
So
That's awesome.
she'd be a good one to talk to about that.
Yeah, I love seeing stuff like that.
I think we'd still do pretty good in the West. But I mean, like some of their best fighters from the West Coast do make it out, and I feel like we still do pretty good. Like, so I wouldn't be too worried about it.
I don't know. I mean, that's one of those like it could be a bias, right? Because we only
Yeah.
see them at Penzik, and it's usually the most hardcore people at their
Right.
generally, they're most eager to fight because they're willing to travel across the states to go to an event, which means that we're getting some of the more exceptional fighters who are willing to travel generally.
Sure, yeah. No, and I'm willing to bet that willing to say there is lack of data, but of the fencers who attend Penzik and Gulf Wars regularly, Tora, me, and Bumi would be my top three.
Yeah.
In that order.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
You guys talking about the West got me thinking about HEMA as well. Is there's a bunch of people doing a pretty similar game in HEMA. I'm curious how the top of that pool compares.
It's different. It's definitely different.
Yeah, Tora still wins Tora does a lot of HEMA and he wins everything he fights over there too. So
he gets. I watched him at King's Cup, this last King's Cup. He was he came in second for Saber.
Okay.
So he's definitely not unbeatable in that regard.
But was Rapier and Dagger?
But he won Rapier Dagger, right? Like that's where I expect him to win.
Gotcha.
But that's his strongest form, and I would say that's probably true for all of us. Where like we have a strongest form. Like I'm not going to be the best at single. I'm just not.
Yeah, same.
Like I'll be all right.
That's my preferred.
Right. Like when I think of like best with single blade, you come to mind. There's a few others. Like I think Master Kai is very, very good at single blade.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's kind of the context of some of like when we talk about who's good at what.
Yeah, sure.
All right, so today it looks like we are reviewing some footage for you, Robert, and it looks like we have a playlist there. So I guess the first question is, what do you hope to get out of this? Is there anything in particular you're looking for? Is there advice you're seeking, or do you just generally want to hear what John and I have as far as opinions?
Yeah, so both of you have talked about the value of reviewing fencing videos, both your own and videos of other people fighting. And so I wanted to kind of get a better idea, like what you guys are looking for and looking at when you're watching those videos. Because when I watch videos of fighting, I'm like, oh yeah, they're fighting. Cool.
Okay. That's fair. John.
Yeah, so I picked out. Oh, go ahead.
John, you there?
Yes.
Can you give Robert a quick primer in the shortcut buttons?
Oh, yes. So, this is okay. So, lesson 1 using YouTube. So, if you hit Shift and then greater than, lesser than, you'll control the speed of the video.
Sweet.
And then if you're paused and you have greater than, lesser than without hitting Shift, it'll go frame by frame.
Yep.
But you might already know. You might already do this. But this way, saves a ton of time. And then if you hit the arrow keys, you go back forward 5 seconds.
Yeah, sure.
Cool. And so, for me, I watch a lot of fighting video, so this saves when you're watching tons of it, like not having to click the little thing to open it up every time. Like
yeah,
saves so much time. So
totally cool. So question for you guys: where do you think it makes sense to start? I've got these QRC finals between Ludovic and Will. I've got some HEMA tournament fights. I got a random Atlantean QRC, and then mostly just like a bunch of other fights, specifically ones where I, for the most part, lost and was. Guess I'm curious how to approach that and be like, I lost this fight. How could I have not?
You have a preference, John?
I think he just dropped.
No. Oh, rip. Oh, he's back.
Back from the
Sorry.
dead.
For some reason, my Discord just keeps crashing.
Sad. Weak ass computer.
I don't know. It was working fine yesterday.
It was. You even played a game and everything.
Yeah. So we were
Did
talking about where to start, right? That was the question.
Yeah, that's the gist.
But yeah, exactly.
Why don't we start with one of your fights, and just go from there. That would be my suggestion. But
Cool. Yeah, sounds good to me. Yeah, let's take a look. Actually, I really like this heroic champs. This is actually from the last year ago.
okay.
This is my
Yeah.
heroic champs with Jacques, JG.
Oh, JG, yeah. No, I remember. I think I watched this
Oh man.
in person.
Shall I just get it started? And...
Yeah. Go ahead and
Yeah, go ahead.
fire up.
And you're the orange for people at
Yep.
home.
Yeah, chat. This is two GOA fighters fighting at champs this last Penzic. Last Penzic?
Yeah.
I wasn't even that at the time. Got my white scarf this summer.
Oh,
okay.
yeah. Okay. My apologies. A GOA and AOA.
Can we see that last exchange slow mode?
That's a really good parry up on your end. Good measure keeping.
Little poke at the hand.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Oh, you just barely missed his head there.
And he just barely missed mine.
Yeah.
There's a lot of not forward in line, as it were.
What do you mean by that?
Oh, like that looked like a percussive cut from on top from your end, and then his response looked more like a tip drag, right? Like that came down more percussively than you probably wanted. You wanted to turn the angle and stab him, and right there, the parry across kind of drug his tip a bit, and he didn't really get forward pressure with it, or at least not for our game purposes.
Right.
Yeah.
The real time feels very fast in this.
Yeah, after you watch slow mo, there's like the normal time feels like you've sped it up.
Yeah.
That was a good entry, by the way. That you had his blade across the body and everything.
Mm-hmm.
That's pretty timed.
Yeah, right there. He had
used your strength.
He had really good control of mine.
I think you, if I had to give a little criticism in that specific instance, I think you actually stepped in too close. Like you bumped him. Like if you like frame by frame that entry, the timing on it is great right here, and you're reaching out and he's reaching out. And you should be able to use
right here
greater than to frame by frame it. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
so the timing, I think, was great. Like you caught the weak of his blade with the strength of yours, and you reinforce it with your hand as you step in.
And he moves. I'm going for his guard right here, but he comes down out of that.
Oh yeah.
So at this point, I'm just like flailing with my hand.
It
trying
does
to catch anything.
It does seem like a little bit also like you kind of covered his blade and stepped in without really like a good idea of what you were going to do next.
Okay.
I could be wrong. You might have had an idea and he just did not do what you were expecting.
If you could drop that in.
But you kind of both step in and then just instantly reset. So unless, and I also wouldn't recommend the plan to be that close, like what Bumi was saying. I would agree with that.
Yeah, I think Bumi's right on. So my plan when I'm at this range, based on what I'm seeing here, I think what my plan is get my hand on the strong of his blade with a guard, and then pull mine out and down to the belly for a cut across. But I think that the position of his blade pretty much completely prevents that. Yeah.
Were you? So
And
you were
like Bumi
hoping to
said, we're
draw, right? Like you push his blade into
yeah,
his body and draw off of that. Yeah.
yeah. But yeah, like you said, we're just too close here. Like I don't have room to do it.
Chat dropped us a link to this fight with a different viewpoint, which would be great.
Ooh,
So we can watch that
I'm
after.
gonna check it out.
Yeah.
We'll finish and then watch.
Cool.
We are watching past someone's head.
Yes, we are.
I assume that's the Ethelmark crown.
That's right. Yep.
Yeah, it's a hell of a hat.
Oh,
All right, can we rewatch that?
can we see that one? Yeah.
Yeah,
He
that's
Yeah.
frame by
looked like
frame
you
worthy.
just missed his head.
If I recall this fight, nothing actually landed in that fight. Like I dropped, but I didn't get hit in the leg. Okay, so there. You want to frame through it?
Yeah, let's do that.
It's not that long of a sequence.
Yeah, so it looks like I'm. It's hard to tell, but it looks like I'm over his shoulder.
Yeah, I think he
ducked it.
voids
You can
in.
see it. Yep. He slips it.
Such a beautiful like duck void. That's good.
Although you cross parry with your hand, which is great. It's like
Mhm.
down.
Yeah, it
slightly
looks
up.
like his.
Oh man, what a position when you watch this. Like
Yeah.
without
Take
the other
that.
explanation, it's pretty ridiculous looking.
Right.
No
Make that
no
the screen
context.
cover.
Yeah.
I'm gonna put it on just slow mo because the frames are loading pretty slow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sometimes you have to do that.
So did you feel something in passing to your recollection, or did you not feel anything, but you went down, and now it's awkward to get
So
up?
I think his sword came in around my legs. Let me actually. My
other angle
recollection
might help,
isn't that
maybe.
Was that?
I said we have another angle, so that might give the answer as to whether or not the sword.
Oh, that's a good point. Yeah, so I think what happened here is maybe a combination of his sword was around my legs. Maybe I thought I got hit. But then I'm also leaned very far forward here, and he applies. Ah, shoot, skipped forward. My bad. Um, and he applies like a little bit of pressure to my shoulder, and I think that might have just pushed me off balance. Right there.
Oh, yep. Got it.
Looks like he got my hand. Yeah.
Okay, I could have seen that on the other side.
Yeah, all that
What's
actually
that?
happened on the other side of the bodies.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is that someone's watermark?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah. There's the end.
Oh. It looks like he followed through more than you expected.
Yeah, I think he continued. Forget my hotkeys. Jump back. Yeah, I think he kept going, and I didn't expect him to. Yeah, so I throw it in the hand, then he takes that as his cue, and just yep.
Oh, your high parry slid off instead of going up as well. I think you expected. Yeah.
Yeah, it slid off. Yeah.
When he
You're
put
right.
his hand forward, it stole all the power out of your high parry. Because now you're guard to guard, and he has gravity because he's a little bit more forward. If that makes sense, like right here.
Oh, you're totally right. I missed that. Yeah, so he's hitting the weak of my blade as I'm trying to parry.
Mm-hmm.
Huh.
Weak relative to where you started your parry, anyways.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, if you pause, not here, but right. Yeah, you can frame.
Sure.
Frame by frame from here. You can see essentially his redouble. Right there. Yep. And you're basically, like, as you're parrying, you're hitting all of his guard right here.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So, even though you have a lot of strength on your blade, but you're still only, like, a foot from your guard, so it's not far from your guard, but you're hitting his guard proper.
Yeah. Well, and I think what also happens here is as I go for that parry, he's he's taking some of the force out of it with his hand.
Yeah.
And I think
his
that's
free hand. Yeah, I see that.
yeah, his free hand, yeah. And I think that's what gives him just enough clearance to get through.
Yep. Just to be over top just a little bit. So that when
That's
you
interesting.
Yeah, when you proper parry.
Right.
Can can you go back to the beginning of this exchange? There's something I wanted to point out real quick. I think so JG does this really big like cross-stepping attack right here when he initiates this. Right here,
Yeah.
yeah. And I think right here, you have just let him get a little too close, right? Like you don't have a great position, and he's sort of, because of that big step, it's hard to read when someone does that. Sometimes it's hard to read exactly where their shot's going to come. So I just like to
Right.
completely just break engagement. It may be that he attacked you right as you were extending at his hand, but I think if you had retreated a little quicker and maybe even off, like on an off angle, you might have just been able to get out of this and just kind of reset it.
Yeah,
That would have
yeah.
been, because I don't really want, because I don't want to get into some of these exchanges like this where the blades are being pushed around, because I just feel like it's kind of too random. I don't want to roll the dice too much on that. So I like to just keep a little bit more distance, and I feel like I can control the fight better from that range.
When you say like the blades are being pushed around, like what do you mean by that?
So like when you go farther into this exchange, like and Bumi's talking about, he pushed you over and the blades are on. Like I just feel like I don't want to play that game. Like I don't want to play. I don't
You
like
don't
to
want to be
play
that
blade.
close.
I don't want to be that close. I don't want to play blade contact. I'm just like, let's just deny this. And if I can't really get them with like one or two intentions and the inside, then I'm just going to leave, especially single sword.
Interesting. John, my understanding is that one of your strengths is like timing and measure and getting people like out of time. Is that right?
I like to think so, yeah.
Yeah.
He's all right.
Yeah, so I like to just like one like feint, disengage, throw, leave.
Yeah, right. Make it
Especially
simple. Yes.
especially
Yeah,
single
so I
sword.
think
But yeah, go ahead.
right. Yeah, I think what's happening here is like at this point in the fight I'm kind of tired, frankly. I throw the shot at his hand, I go for the lunge, and I'm pretty far in. And he recognizes that I've committed, and then he just presses me on from there. I think you're right. If I commit to getting out more or take an angle, I probably live in this situation.
I like that hand shot. It was just you didn't recover correctly from it, and I think that's what let him hit you. Right. Especially looking at it a third or fourth time. Looks like what happened to me. But
cool.
And maybe if you had thrown hand and then left like to your right, or to like you were left kind of on an angle, because I guess it would have been better. Yeah, if you had left to one direction or the other, that might have helped too. Probably to your left, actually, because he's a lefty. But
to my left, and then parry him to the outside.
Yeah, but really, either direction would have been a little better.
Yeah.
Than just straight back.
I dropped the other link to your DMs in Discord, Robert.
Yeah, checking it now. Oh yeah, it's a totally different angle. Yeah, oh, that's Cyrus.
Yeah, I believe Cyrus is in chat. Hello.
Hey, Cyrus. Alrighty.
Oh, I've watched this angle too, I think, before.
Yeah. Yeah, do you guys want to just kind of go through it? Pause if you see anything you want to call out.
Yeah.
Yeah, just play it. It's not that long of a fight, so just play it at normal speed.
Cool. I'm curious to see that part where we get tangled up.
Yeah, the leg exchange.
Yeah.
Agreed.
Yeah.
It looks so much faster from this angle.
Yeah, right.
Were we still fighting, John? Were we still fighting the
bear pit? That's the wrong year.
Oh, sorry. Not this past fencing. This is the one before that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it's
Ooh,
right
that's
here.
hard to tell.
This is 2022, so.
Yep. Yeah, I didn't fight heroics this past year.
Oh, that's a good parry riposte,
That's a
actually.
beautiful parry, yeah.
I like that. You just.
I think your riposte went down the line too much instead of keeping the angle.
Yeah,
So like
parry
right
here.
here, if you kept your guard to your right instead of bringing it down, because when you bring your guard to center, like you imagine this near, it becomes close to his guard. If right where you are,
Right.
frozen right now in time, went straight forward with your blade, you have all the power in the world relative to him. Does that make sense? But right here, this frame
Right.
shows that you are pushing to the middle to try to get the touch because of the range. What that means is when you have that lockup right here, you could just push forward and you're pushing your guard into mid blade on him, and you can run that down.
No, is that
several more
a that's just a step, right?
yeah, instead of
Rather
reaching
than a lead.
for
Yeah.
the attack, which pushes you into the
Right.
middle. Now you touch guard to guard, and then now it's muscle. It's who has
Yeah. But
better
you could
muscle.
also tell that you turn your hand. It looks like you turn your hand over into one instead of keeping it in two, which loses you edge contact,
Yeah.
which loses you power
Yeah,
too.
exactly.
Right?
Yep,
Yeah, because like
Yeah,
your
and
flat,
flexing.
now you're on the flat.
So
flat
right
is
here.
onto his blade. Yeah. If you just keep your hand in the right, like, I think that might have even been enough. Maybe. Yeah. Anyway, it was a good timing, just not quite.
Yeah, your parry was good. Your timing was good. I think it would really, if I had to be judgmental about it, I think your footwork is what didn't secure you the kill, because right here you could take another step instead of trying to do the big lunge. If that makes sense.
Yeah,
Like
I think my body weight's
and
too
then
committed.
lunge.
Right.
Yeah, you're going for like the big kill shot here, but it's just out of range from where you launched, based on yours and his actions. And so this range is a scrap.
Yeah, I think so. I think so right here, he's got his sword real close to my face.
Yeah.
And it
He's
looks
trying to
like
back on mine.
I'm like panic parrying here.
Yeah.
It looks
That's
like he
hard to
wanted
tell.
to.
different. That's crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Looks like he
it's so
wanted to
hard to
throw
tell
a
how
cut
close
at your
we are.
leg, but didn't.
Where's that? Like here?
Yeah, his parry, it almost looked like he wanted to throw a cut, but was like choosing not to. I mean, like, he's not CNT, but I know he does CNT, so.
Yeah. Through here.
Hey, chat. What do you think is one thing Robert could have done? Like, what is the number one thing you think he could have done to win this fight? I'm curious to hear other people's opinions.
Yeah. How many folks do you have in chat?
I don't know.
There's 4 people watching right now.
Yep. To the 4 folks who are watching.
Oh, 5
What do
people.
you think? 5 people?
One of them is me, though, so.
Oh, okay. You don't count. Your opinion not relevant here.
No.
So this is that scrap.
Yeah, that's a scrap with the foot.
Yeah, so from this angle, it looks like I'm cutting his torso, but obviously that's not what happened.
I think his hand might be on it.
I think you're right. Yeah, we can see it here.
Yeah. I think, yeah, your
So
hands are... Go ahead.
Yeah, I feel like from this angle, it doesn't look like that was a bad choice. Just like, I guess how would I avoid him getting his hand on it in that situation?
Yeah, I mean, I don't... I personally, if I was... And once again, I personally wouldn't want to be that close to try for a cut in general, just because
Sure.
I think this is too random to me. Like...
Yeah, I second John's opinion that now that he's completely left and dropped off. Yeah, I've always heard it as if you get into dagger fighting range, there's too much luck. It becomes a brawl.
Sure.
If you keep the fight at the measure that you want and meticulously manage that measure, you have opportunity to exploit it, and it is safer for the win.
Makes sense.
But I agree with John. If him and I are daggering each other, one or both of us have fucked up.
Yeah. Not to say that it doesn't happen, but
Correct.
Yeah, sure.
Sometimes
you
it's the
take what
best
you
move
get.
because of the context of what you get.
Yeah.
Asterisks. Could have done better with your feet.
but I wouldn't make that the plan A,
Can
right?
we pause that right there and run that back to
sure.
that last little parry? I think, and this is just this is me being nitpicky. When you're talking about like little things you can do to be better, you see where he throws. He's trying to throw around your blade, sort of. But you see where your parry goes.
Yeah, it's pretty big.
Yeah, you're like half again your own width off the side from the looks of it. Does that make sense? Like, I think you're past the edge of your body by a bit, and your blade's probably more upright than it needs to be. Like it's like the tip should stay about his forehead height, because then you're fully covering everything coming at you. If that makes sense. There's nothing that's going to go above the head there.
Right. So instead of like bringing my hand like almost towards my left shoulder there, I can just like bring it across, keeping my point online.
Yes, a little bit more forward with the hand, and then the tip should be at the top of his head roughly, as opposed to a foot above both of your heads.
And turn the edge a little better, more to it also.
Yeah.
Yep. Using
100%.
true edge on
Honestly, this shot almost didn't even need to be parried.
Yeah,
really.
I wouldn't have parried. I would have just thrown back into it if I saw.
I wouldn't have. Yeah, I probably wouldn't have even. I might have just stepped.
Yep.
I probably might not have parried at all.
Right. Yeah, I think Bumi, you're right on. Like if I just throw a straight shot in fourth at his chest, like I think the fight ends there.
Yep. But I think that he caught you a little bit unsurprised, right? You didn't know what was happening, so you didn't know that it was a probe shot on his end. So you step back and protect yourself. I think that's a correct move. This goes back to when we were talking about in your offensive kit, having a small step forward and then engage. Like right here, if you immediately had the instinct, I step back, I parried. Now I step back forward, and I had the opportunity to maybe throw from that platform. But if you stay that far back, you don't have the opportunity. And you see how you shuffle your back foot forward. That is I would step back, parry, and immediately push off that back foot to take a step forward right after that parry. So even if you don't launch, you now have the capacity to launch. Whereas you took a pause and then a gathering step forward, which moment is gone.
Right. So you're saying this comes back to the conversation we had at Ruby Joust of like keeping the pressure on, try to force your opponent into a mistake.
Yep.
Yeah.
Well, if you the way I was taught it by Torah is space is time, and we fought in a racquetball court, so it's pretty easy to run to both ends over however many steps. And the idea is that you want to always fill that space forward as much as you reasonably can and make threatening gestures to continue to push your opponent back so that if they hit the wall behind them, you have now won the battle of managing space and thus stealing time. Now they have to launch at you because they have no more backstep. Now, in this case, the field is huge, and that's a fairly irrelevant point. However, the practice remains the same. You should be, when you step back to parry, if you need to step back at all, just outside of their tip, right? You want to be within a couple inches of that tip. You don't want to be like 2 feet behind it, and then immediately step back forward once you touch the blade, because you know you have control.
I actually want to ask you guys about this. So this is a conversation I had with some folks recently. I tend to parry pretty big, like bigger than I necessarily need to. But I think that comes from like prioritizing not dying, right? And my thinking behind it is, yes, if someone is straight on and throws a small shot and I do the little parry, like I will block it. But if they take a sidestep or if they overcommit, that will come past my defense.
Correct.
So I guess like how do you balance that not wanting to over parry with all of the random shit that can happen in a fight, right? And you don't want to die from random stupid stuff.
So if you So for me, if there's ever an attack that I'm not 100% certain where it's going, like I haven't made the read, I will step back and I'll parry. Right? That's the I've talked about this before. I talk about this all the time. This is basic fighting survival. But when you do that, when you step back and you parry, you have now, you should have been at the end of their range to begin with, like measure-wise, right? Like they have to take a deep lunge to hit you. Now you should be just outside of that. And so for them to seed your blade, it's going to be an obvious big motion. And you can just run your blade with theirs, right? Your ability to kind of move your hands out to the side as they're turning the blade is, you're just much faster than their ability to turn the blade, and you're still on the inside the whole time. Does that make sense? Like you still have control. You have that parry initially, because what you're saying is essentially someone throws, you parry it, and then they keep like falling to that side and turning the corner. Right. So let's say it's this exact attack. He flicks out. He's a lefty. He's flicking, and his 4. You're inside parrying. Let's say he just like falls forward instead of a probe shot. If that were the case, you can just take your hand and keep going to your left to parry as much as you need to. And the whole time, if you're pointing your blade, like I said, pointing your blade at his forehead, he's going to just run onto your blade eventually because you've locked him out.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Okay.
Yeah, there's no. I sort of disagree with. I understand the reaction of big parries, but I think they are it's a response to something that could be better in your measure management.
So
ultimately,
also a big parry is more. It's actually it's more likely to get you killed, because if someone, like if they disengage, then you're totally hosed, right? Because they're out of position, right? So I would, making the small parry then gives you more time to change that angle and make it bigger. If they are like making like a real big hook shot or something, then you can just be like small parry. Start with small. If they keep going that direction, you just make it big. Is essentially what Bumi is saying. But also it means that if you make that small parry and they disengage, and then you just don't have much time. You have, your hand isn't out of position, so you can come back again and make a second parry really quick, or even a third or fourth.
Right.
So if I look for someone has a big parry, then I will fake, as soon as I see it, I'll fake a shot or like either stutter it or disengage, and kill them for it.
Yeah.
Exactly
that.
So really, a big parry is actually way, like, you're more likely to get killed for it. It's not like you're not really getting yourself safer.
So, Bumi, it sounds like you were saying what you would do instead is take a small step back with that small parry.
Yep.
Yeah.
100% every time.
That's also that's like the main thing, really.
Yeah, that's the main thing. You're giving yourself so that they cannot do the turn around your blade easily. They have to cover extra distance to do it. Even if it's like 1 foot length of distance, that's more than enough for you to have the time to look and process and react appropriately. So if, I don't know if you can see my camera, but basically if they, to one side or the other, whichever side they're seating, inside or outside, you're just rotating your hand appropriately further and further out as you need to, instead of doing it as the automatic action and then someone abuses your big action. I like it when people make big motions. That means when I probe, I'm like, okay, I have opportunity to kill them. If they have tight, small parries and a good step back, it's a hard fight, and I know it's going to be a slog to beat them.
Yeah. Cool. All right. I think the last exchange we got here is just me dying.
Yeah.
Not quite.
No, that's
there's this
fall,
one.
The reset.
Yeah.
And then, and I give JG and others in Kingdom the same advice and the same. Like I fought JZ like 2 weeks ago, and he wanted me to try to bring my best, and I can tell like when I dig deep and do that, his footwork I think needs improvement to keep up.
Gotcha.
Because he doesn't have an entry step. He does kind of what you do, which is looking for that bigger lunge, maybe a pseudo flèche inward, and that's just
what. So you were talking about like adding in a small offensive step, essentially, right?
Yep, absolutely.
How, this is like sort of a weird question, but like vaguely how big would that Like, are we talking like 1 foot length?
First it should you should always consider context, which means if they are a
Sure.
person who's flying backwards, you're going to step a little closer. If they are
Sure,
like
sure.
poke and run, if they are a jump in, you might step back and not step back forward. So it's very contextual. If I do it
Gotcha.
by habit and I'm practicing at home, I will take 1 foot length back roughly. Like I just go off my front foot, push off my front foot, step 1 foot length back, keeping about the same gait, front to front foot to back foot, and then push off my back foot, stepping forward about 1 foot length forward, and just do that very like a quick step.
Yeah, sure.
And then in my head, I picture my parry or move my hand with the parry and then launch it back.
Right. That's actually another thing that I want to talk to you guys about. This is a very long conversation, I'm sure. Is I'm curious what sort of solo drills the two of you do to, like, if you're trying to get ready for a tournament or just get better.
I do a lot of, and my thing cut out again, so I didn't hear what 100% what Bumi's answer was. But I do a lot of footwork stuff, so like advanced retreat, a lot of lunges, just for conditioning.
Sure.
And then I do a lot of also like just accuracy, so like just point control drills, so like stand in front of a target and just practice hitting it from like a step, from a lunge, and then like from weird angles and stuff, so that I just can always make sure that I can always hit whatever I want from any weird position. Also, once again, for conditioning, but also just that accuracy. That's pretty much it. And then I do, like I said, I watch a lot of video reviewing to like get my head in the right space. So I'm kind of like in visualization of the people I think I might have to fight if I'm getting ready for a tournament. So like if I was going to Penzik, and I knew I had to fight like Bumi and Tora and like some of the like if I would then like think about like, okay, here's how I fight Bumi and make sure that I have like a game plan ready. So like a lot of mental prep work more now than physical prep work for me, but
sure.
but then a lot of, like I said, a lot of footwork, like I said, advanced retreat, lunges, and then accurate, just hitting targets with my sword if it's solo.
Cool.
I don't do it as much as I used to.
I don't think I prep for tournaments nearly as much as John does.
I was like, do you do any of that ever? Have you ever done any of that movie?
Mildly.
Yeah, wait, Bumi, do you just go to practices? Like, what's that look like?
I mostly, for Rapier, it depends on what period of my career you're talking about. Early on, I hit a lot of practices and I travel a lot earlier on. And then, but nowadays it's mostly body maintenance. Like I want to make sure my body is in a good place to fight. And if I have that, everything else is secondary. I think I have fought enough sword Dagger that it is so automatic, it's not going to really get that much better.
Right.
It's only going to rust.
So
I need to just rust maintenance more than anything else.
I fought you in DC around like January of this year. And my recollection is that when we fought then, I did pretty well against you, better than I expected to. Mm-hmm. And we met on the field at Penzik this year, and you kicked my ass as you had the previous year. What is the difference, do you think, in your fencing between those scenarios?
Oh, that's a very astute observation, and the skill change is in implementing the things I have been training and learning from Torah. Like I think it takes me about 2 years to get a move set really ingrained that I don't have to think about it anymore. When I fought you, it was probably at the 1.5 year mark.
Sure.
Or something along those lines. Like it was when I'm learning new things, I understand I have to take a step back to then take a step forward. And that for me, that take a step back usually lasts longer than, I suppose longer than people expect it to. For me, it's like, it maybe takes a year, 6 months to learn an action, a year for it to ingrain a little bit so where I can use it in tournaments, and then maybe another year on top of that before it's like so automatic it becomes a tool in the toolkit that is just there and exists.
Cool.
Yeah, that's probably it. Also, I do have to say that my and John knows this, and I say this a lot, is I have trouble turning on any intensity, especially in the context of practice. That's a hard thing to do.
Interesting. I would not have guessed that.
So if one of them was pickups and one of the other fights was tournaments, then that would be completely different for Bumi.
That's it.
Yep. Yeah, I can bring at most maybe 80% of my intensity at a practice, and that's like trying hard. It's not there for me.
We were just talking about that last night, literally.
Yeah. That's a known thing that I've worked on for a long time.
Yeah.
And it hasn't really, I mean, it's gotten a little bit better, but it's still one of my bigger weaknesses by far.
There's nothing that's like a tournament fight, right? It's just like I'm probably better at that than Bumi at trying hard in more settings, but it's still like different. If I'm fighting, it's like different if it's a tournament versus doing some pickups.
Right.
I will definitely give you a way better fight in a tournament.
I lost the starfish right after winning the Ansiorian tournament, and I knew that it doesn't matter what I did after the winning the Ansiorian tournament. After that was done, everything else that I would do is going to be a small fraction of the intensity.
Of course,
like
yeah.
I could not muster more after that.
Yeah,
I left it out in the field, as it were.
Yeah, sure. That makes sense to me. All right. Do you guys want to look at anything more in this video before we move on to another one?
Let's go ahead and move on.
My vote. Next.
Cool.
GG next. This is also like a year and a half ago, so it's not as representative of who you are now in your fight.
Right. Yeah. So actually, let's take a look at this HEMA tournament that I did recently. This was at the start of October.
Okay, so very recent.
Yeah, very recent.
Before we start, could you give me the idea of the parameters? Is it like how many points, valid targets, valid blows?
Sure. So 5 passes. Each match is either 1 point or 2 points. Valid blows are any thrust or percussive cut. I want to say 2 points is just a thrust to the head or the torso or the sword arm. And then everything else, like a thrust to the leg, a chop to anywhere, all that is 1 point.
Okay, thank you.
And you're on the left, right?
I'm on the left here, yep.
Yeah, chat, I agree. The pressure in tournaments really, at least for me, it's just there's a switch in my head somewhere.
Oh, that's our first point.
Did they catch you with an onside cut? Is that what it looks like?
Yeah, I believe that's what happened. Yeah, it hits my hand here. Okay. Yeah.
That I would assert is specifically directly to your parry. We talked about the big.
Oh yeah, big parry there. Yep.
Your hand is very out of the way.
Well, also you move your back foot backwards, but you don't it doesn't actually move your body backwards. Like you see that?
That was my second.
You just widen you widen your stance, but you're actually not moving backwards.
Yeah.
Right.
You need to actually keep your gait and just take a step back. Is my opinion.
That's a pretty common mistake. If people feel like they've stepped back, but they really haven't moved their body back.
Yeah, you can even see it here. My body moves back like 4 inches.
It's very minimal. Yeah.
Yeah. Interesting.
And as soon as you start to lean, you're committed to being there. You are rooted in place in this moment. And if I saw this, I would immediately follow up with an attack of some sort.
Yeah, and you can see, I think part of that's that my weight is committed to my front foot here. Probably like 60-40, maybe even more. Yeah. Okay, cool.
Yep.
Oh, man. Let me get my emojis out of here. Okay. This is not even the same video. All right, so that's what we just watched.
There we are, yeah. Kind of a cool church to have a tournament in.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's so sweet. This is the HEMA school that I train at. It's pretty sweet.
Oh, nice. At least I assume it's a church.
Yep. Yeah, it used to be.
Cool.
Yeah, and there's that step that you were talking about, John, where I'm like not really retreating. I'm just leaning back.
Yeah.
Like taking a big step back.
The one
but
you did
not...
right before that was better. Yeah, that was a step. That's exactly a step that I would think about.
So we're here. Advance.
Yep. So that's good. They do something. You
Yeah,
step back.
and then I step back.
Right there. I think you do it again right here. Step back.
Right
That's
here,
the step I
yeah.
want to see. Yep.
Yeah, that's
so
that's a better step. Yeah.
When he launches at
Right.
you, that step you just took shouldn't happen again.
Yeah. This one, it looks like I was just slow on the uptake. Like I didn't see his feet adjusting. And so he was way too close and I just got wrecked. So right here, you can see I respond after he's taken that full step.
Yeah.
Though actually it looks like he doesn't hit me there.
I guess it's just short.
Oh. Yeah, I was just short.
Okay, but then you step back in without covering.
Yep. We'll switch that again. Yeah, so right here, advancing with my feet gets me killed. Yeah, you can see, like, I don't even think either of my feet are on the ground there. Yeah.
Yeah, and you're not closing, like you're not covering the line, right? Because you just step in,
Right.
your hands a little high.
Oops.
I also looking at what he's doing before this exchange, like I would 100% try to bait one of those big cuts and just stab him while he's in the middle of that, or like disengage it. That's what I would have looked for.
Good idea.
Or if you can drop a cut to his wrist or something after one of his cuts.
When you say big cuts, you're talking about... He does one of them in here, I think. Yeah, like that.
Yeah, I think it's actually the next series of blows, like after this point.
Okay.
Yeah, like that. Because he's really like, those are not accomplishing anything, really.
Mm-hmm.
Like right there, cut his wrist or stab him in the face or something.
You could have cut straight down and hit anything you wanted with his nonsense.
What's that, Bumi?
In that, when he did that offside cut into your sword, it was a poor choice on their part. In that moment, you could have just pushed your sword forward and hit anything. Right there.
Oh, yeah, that's
right
true.
there.
Yeah.
Instead of like pairing and doing kind of your, what I would say is a squatting stance to get low and ready to fight. That you could have seen, that moment I have all of the strength right there. You could have actually attacked straight into his blade that was across that middle line.
Yeah.
Just because that thrust, if I just take a strong parry in second.
Straight down the center, you would kill him.
Right.
You could have thrust, you could have cut. Doesn't matter.
He looks so vulnerable, really.
Mm-hmm. It was like what you did to JG when you shoved his blade across the side. You see how his blade is his tip is way to your right side. You could have just pushed forward in that moment and recognized, his blade's way out of place right there.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. The more we watch it, the more that looks open.
Yeah. Like
right
at any
here.
point here, you could have just punched your hand forward while taking that step.
But instead I see it, and I'm like wanting to get out of there so I don't get hit.
Yeah, instead of capitalizing and attacking through their attack. Yep.
Right. Oh, I like that. Attacking through their attack.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I get it, right? He's moving his sword around, kind of strange. So you're like, I don't want any piece of that.
Yeah. I don't think your choice is bad. I don't think the choice of like
opportunity
parry step back is really ever that bad. But yeah, it is recognizing your windows, because if they give you windows, you're gonna have to take them when you can.
Yeah, I want to look through here. So he's just made an attack. I want to hit him on his reset.
Mm-hmm.
But in doing that, he's taking this really interesting low guard that means that I'm not able to control his sword the way I expect to. So he's bowing out.
You see how he backed up as much as you move forward at the same rate that you move forward.
Yeah.
Which means that I don't necessarily think launching into a deep attack is the best strategic choice here, or the best tactical choice.
Sure.
To deal with it, though, if you wanted to deal with that low guard in that moment, so go back to that. So play. Just let it play. I'll tell you the freeze. Right there.
Yeah.
All right. So I believe if you had made the choice to kill him, you probably could have. Like if you pushed off your back foot hard there, you would have put your blade in his face.
Yeah.
Now the practice,
Right.
and this is a hard one. This is a difficult one for me and John both, because we're still both not great at it, is to get into practice of you tag them with your main blade and then put your main blade in a place that's likely going to just stop their blade from killing you.
Yes.
Does that make sense? So in this case, because he's low guard, I can't tell if he's on the inside line, outside line, or right underneath your guard, but you would basically hit him and then bring your guard down, and I would probably do an inside parry like you're doing, but with my guard a little to my right side, so that I'm creating kind of a horizontal line from the bottom, because you know that he has come up from the bottom. So if you imagine making a line that's like horizontal from your hip, he can't kill you. He can only hit your like below the waist.
Oh.
Does that sort of make sense?
So you mean lower my sword, keep it pointed at him?
Yeah, you hit him in the face, and then you lower your guard a little bit more to the right of where it is, instead of straight down toward. Like you're right now trying to touch your guard to his blade, which is hard to do.
Right.
You, however, can create a line that he can't pass. Like you see how you end up behind your guard.
You end up on the other side.
Yeah, if your guard was on the right side, it would just create a line.
Right.
And then you point it such that the tip is higher than the guard, so it funnels to your own guard.
Right.
And then you have control.
I also I might have thrown at his sword hand here because of that low blade. His hand is vulnerable.
Oh yeah.
Mm-hmm. This is a good place to safely just put your tip where his path of travel will be for his arm.
Yeah, and if you throw that, then it's kind of easy to like sort of. I think of it as clogging the lane versus having the line. If you're kind of put your sword just sort of roughly in front of their sword, generally that's like a good idea. But it's not like you're having the line in like the real proper technical sense, but you're kind of clogging up the lane.
Right. If he wants to throw an attack, he's stabbing himself on my sword.
Yeah. And if you did, let's say you missed the hand, then your sword is still right there, and you can just kind of like do the parry that Bumi's talking about, but you're even closer to the target.
Yep.
Right. To the blade. So I think about things like that, just trying to keep my hand generally in front of their sword. But yeah, I'm not as good at it as I could be, to be fair.
Yeah. John and I both sometimes double out because we're both bad at the after parry.
Yeah.
Sure.
Well, I also will tend to do that with my dagger, which is just like a smaller, like you have to be more precise with it, right? Than with the sword.
Well, the dagger can get there while your sword attacks.
Right.
That's the it is the crutch because it's stronger.
Yeah, but it covers less space, which is the trade-off.
Yep.
Right. Oh, it's a heartbreak right there. I come in right over his shoulder because I'm just too close.
Yeah,
this should be a thrust to his chest.
That is what happened with JG.
Yeah, he got too close.
JG leaned the other way. Even though you had the tip online, he dropped it your left. But.
I mean, to me, that just looks like error on my part. Like he's just backing up.
Mm-hmm.
Well, look at your one thing to look at when you're watching videos too. This is a kind of is to look and see what trajectory is your point taking on your attacks. Like, ideally, it should be taking mostly a straight line.
Sure.
Yes, that is a very good point. If you watch your own tip, it makes a giant ass arc, and then tries to find his part.
It's like that is just that's just time that you're just leaving on the table, right?
Yep. Yeah, your yellow tip should have gone straight toward, no matter what anything else does, the tip should have gone from right there to his chest or throat, or whatever you're aiming for. Everything else about your hand motion almost doesn't matter.
Think about that. So what's happening here, it looks like, is my blade is on his right side. It's on the outside.
Mm-hmm.
And so, let me think. So he's just disengaged.
Yeah, he disengaged to the outside. You push.
I parry.
Yep.
Right.
And you do a
Yeah.
good
So I think
hard
what's
push.
happening here is to get leverage to get in. I have to get higher to get my strong on his weak.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Yeah, I think you're actually right.
Yep. Yep.
Um,
That said, the in this particular case, because of the context at which you're fighting, you're fighting cut and thrust essentially, right? In this HEMA tournament.
Essentially, yeah.
Yeah, I personally would have cut him from on top once you earn that strength, because then you can't miss it. Make an obvious
Yeah,
flick
right.
from right
So
there,
here
plus
I
a
can
cut
just
down.
turn
There's a quick
over.
wrist flick down.
Right.
also, once your point is offline, then you might as well cut it back onto line, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yep.
Say that again, John.
So like your point, like you start with your point online, right? So you start with a thrust, but as long as your point has become an offline now, you might as well cut with it to bring it back into line.
Well,
Throw
what
a
would
cut.
that
So
cut
like
be here?
yeah, probably you could have. I think you could have done a head. Could have done a head cut, or you could have gone just let your hand fall into a leg cut or body cut, like because it's high.
Sure.
Just rotate your wrist down.
So I'm in first, so that would just be like swinging around into just like a typical heavy fighting kind of cut to the leg.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
I do that a lot actually in CT. I throw a head thrust, they parry up, then I just let my hand fall to the side and turn that into a leg cut or a body cut, depending, just like whatever I get.
It's right out of the manuals.
Because their hand, yeah. But I don't usually start with the cut because the thrust is faster if you're starting with your point pointed at them, right?
Yes.
Yeah, of course.
All those things.
So I'm not sure how this winds up. I think, yeah, I like practically fall down. And I think, I think we're grappled here and then they break it up. Yeah, I don't know what's happening back here.
The weird sword dance.
Yep.
What is the score at? Do you know at this point?
So he landed, I want to say he got one with the cut to my hand, and then this is the second exchange.
Okay.
Let me see what he's saying, actually, because
Did he
the guy with the
did he not have that body stab in the second pass?
Body stab. Oh, yeah, you're right. So it's 3-0 in his favor. This might have been a... Oh, you know what happened is, so they're really big on... the guy judging has a very strong... he's very sassy, essentially. And so he'll decree things sometimes. And I think what he's decreeing here is that I turned my back on the other guy, and therefore I lost the fight.
Oh.
So that's, I think, 2 points for the guy I'm fighting, Mike.
Got it. I didn't realize that was a...
You can see me laughing here and nodding. Yeah.
I guess that's fair.
Yeah. Although, actually, maybe not. Because this is the other two fights I win. So I have to be... Like, the outcome of this is that he gets 2 points on me. Yeah. Yep.
Double tapping.
Mm-hmm. Double tap is correct.
The double tap is absolutely correct. Yeah, so he's got me in the belly here.
Yeah. It looks like your shot just kind of goes right into his hand parry.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Let's see. So I think he throws these disengages back and forth, and that makes me... Let me see.
Oh, he's doing a good job of making you make big parries, right? That's the...
Yeah, totally.
When someone
There's the
disengages like
turnaround.
that, you should step back.
What did you say, Bumi?
That last disengage that you did, or that they did to your, like there was like a flick outside, flick inside. I would have stepped back in that moment.
Oh, okay.
Because they.
So you just don't want to be there.
I don't want to mess with the fact that they managed to get their sword around my sword and I parried.
So yeah,
right
so I know
here,
Bumi has said,
I hate everything about this. I need to step back.
yeah, Bumi
Yeah.
has said
He does it one
to
more
step
time.
back a lot, which I'd agree with. But for me, like, and I agree with but in general, especially if you feel like you've made a bad parry, then that's like the time to get like jump, like probably step really far back.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Be on the side of living in order to win later.
Yeah.
my feet save me from mistakes my hands make all the time.
Same.
Ooh, a good line.
I think that is actually, if you watch anybody who's very successful in their competition track record, I would think, I do think that it is their feet that are often the most obvious difference. I don't have hands as good as a lot of people.
Good footwork.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So like there, that moment, there's no chance I would have fired because I'm like, oh shit,
Right.
he just parried, or sorry, he just disengaged my parry.
Yeah. So
My
I think
brain
what
would
I
say
think
step
is,
back.
yeah, what I'm expecting, you can see me going into second here. I'm expecting him to come up on the outside.
Exactly.
But yeah, you're right on. Like, I just shouldn't be going for that.
Nope.
Like, I think he's got me.
Yep.
He's got a read on what I'm doing there.
Exactly. Yeah, that's why his hand went straight to where your blade is, as opposed to.
Yeah, right.
And you have to, like, with your hand, fish for his blade, which is more
Right.
risky.
You all are really close too when you start this.
Yeah, that's what I was just thinking. That's the other part that I would hate, is because not only did the disengage happen, but it happened at a range that both of you can explode and kill each other.
Okay.
Like, and you honestly, both of you are throwing, I think, lunges that are deeper than necessary.
Okay.
Which you mean you probably think you probably think you're farther away than you are.
Yeah, agreed.
Would be my guess.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's like a massive lunge.
Yeah.
Right.
For both of you, you both impaled each other and the person behind them.
Right.
Yeah. All right.
Cool.
Let me give you. I want to do a quick screen share. I'm going to stop watching this for just a second here. Let's see. Share your screen. I want to share this. All right. If you want to watch this just for a second, Robert, I've shared my screen on Discord. Let me know when you can see it.
Yeah, I got it up.
Here you go, chat. This is what I am sharing to the Discord server. This is just one of the passes with Mike and I, Master Miguel and myself in this last Onsiorn tournament. And I just want to like watch our feet, like nothing else. Just watch how we're trying to keep this distance that we both want. This is constant micromanage. If one of us takes a big step, the other takes an equivalent step or 2 steps or whatever it is to try to, right? You see how I got in a little close on him and he didn't love it.
Right, yeah.
And so he takes those quick steps. So right there, you see that back out, back in, back out, back in. That's the magic right there.
Oh, that's that little step you're talking about.
I'm ready to go back in. So he is terrifying. He's like, watch his entry step. It scares the shit out of me because of how. So you see, he takes a small step. I take a small step. So we're matched. If I didn't do that, I would be immediately dead. Like right here, I'd be dead.
Right.
Slow mo this exchange.
Yeah. So watch this entry step. We've done a bunch of matching steps, but he does this entry step. And not only does he do his entry step, he does his entry step on my gather step. He's like, nope, I see you gathering. I'm going to step.
Oh,
and
yeah.
There's a tiny step on my end, and he's already abusing it. So now I have to immediately push off my front foot to get the fuck out. Because he deceives it.
Right.
But see,
he's.
Oh, go ahead.
No, I'm just trying to put this together. One timing thing that I like to do is to strike as someone's recovering from their own strike. And this is essentially that same thing, but with footwork.
Yes, it's exactly that. It is me stepping that little step. You see my back foot comes in. He sees it. He's already stepping before I land. And these are micro steps, right? I'm frame by framing, and it still feels reasonably fast. So he sees his opportunity because he steps in, right? You know how I said you take that step in to then launch, and I match that step back. And if I didn't, I'd be dead. but he
And
already
you,
scooted in a little closer than I wanted. And now you see how he's immediately launching this huge attack. This
right? Yeah,
big
that's
step.
massive lunge.
Mm-hmm. And I have to really leave. Like I am like, get out, get out, get out, get out, get out.
Right.
Does that
Bumi,
make
can you play
sense?
this whole exchange at like half or quarter speed?
Yeah, absolutely. So here's at speed for chat. You can kind of see.
Yeah. That's a perfect example of footwork saving Bumi because Mike
Oh
had
yeah.
a good move here
Mm-hmm.
Right.
I'll
and
run it
even
down.
had a good disengage on the hand a little
Yeah,
bit.
everything about it was pretty. The only thing that saved me was my feet.
Which is also pretty. It's just high level fighting all around. So like,
Yeah.
Yeah, right.
Yep.
I love it.
And I put my blade in away just to keep him away.
Right.
I don't remember if this one I win or when that he wins, but I let's see, we'll find out. Matching.
You
stuff,
won more
matching
than he did. So
that is true. I did win the tournament.
Odds on Bumi.
Okay, right there. So
Looks
my
like you got him in the
entry
head.
step in that moment. Let's see what happened there. Yeah, you see how so all my steps have been small, small, small. And he reached
And
out.
you
He
hit him on
reached out
the
to probe at me, right? Remember how I was saying like sometimes you don't have to move if they don't. It's like I knew the measure was not there because
right.
he threw a probing shot, like just like you were throwing at JG's hand that sort of probing shot, but instead of
Yeah.
or that other guy who's cutting at you, but instead of moving, I was like, okay, I recognize that it's a probing shot, and that my measure is correct, so I have a platform to launch off of.
And so you hit him
So I
here
throw
as
an
he's
entry
resetting
step,
from that probing shot.
just a little entry step to freeze the dagger. All I'm doing is, in this moment, he's thrown, so I step a small step with my front foot, and you see how I point my blade at his leg? It causes his
Mm-hmm.
dagger to go down right here. And I'm immediately launching like that.
Oh.
Like frame. So 0.2 frames later, I'm already launching my attack, my actual attack, up and over his dagger.
Interesting.
Trying to lock out his sword. And you see how he's good enough that like I hit him here, but he's already disengaging my dagger. It's actually really
Yeah, right.
like it's wicked good. Like he's super good at what he does. So I hit
Where's
him.
this guy from?
this is actually my brother.
That's his brother. That's John's brother.
Oh, no way. Gotcha.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Master
so she's from
Miguel.
Texas.
Gotcha.
Very prodigious in the SCA and otherwise. The youngest mod by far, I think.
Yeah,
His name's
he was
Miguel?
yeah, Miguel. He made a premier mod of Monster when he was 19. So
Jesus.
Very, very
Damn.
good. Slaughtered me consistently up until he took a 5-year break and I caught up, basically.
Gotcha.
and then he still finaled in this tournament too, right?
Yeah,
So.
he still he went to finals after 5 years of not fighting.
Right.
I mean, that's
John, did you and your brother grow up doing SE fencing?
Yeah, we started fencing in the SCA in 07 when I was 14 and he was 12.
Gotcha.
And just were both like super consistent, took it very seriously for a good like he was pretty serious for about like 8 to 10 years before he took a little bit of a break. And then has come back a little bit last year or so. But
Gotcha.
but yeah, he was always a little better than me. He was just more naturally talented.
It was fun. It was crazy because as good as like the current John that we all know, Miguel was always consistently a little bit better when he was playing.
Yeah,
Wow.
it's fucking annoying, but yeah.
Yeah, right. See, he's your younger brother?
Yeah, 2 years younger. Yeah.
Gotcha.
But I mean, honestly, at this point, I'm kind of like his biggest fan, right? It's just like that he's.
Yeah, of course.
I admire the fighting, and it's super cool that someone's just that good at it.
Yeah.
And yeah, I think I'm a little better than him right now because I'm in practice.
Right.
That's the reason I beat him is because I think I am more in practice than he is by a bit.
Yeah.
And I think he also like remembered me from 5 years ago, which is
Probably
So he
yeah.
came in zone.
well, it's just like a night and day difference in my ability to fight.
Right.
Yeah.
Of course.
Yeah. I remember the days of beating Bumi like easily.
Yeah. Oh yeah. You guys both stomped me in the ground for years. It wasn't close.
Yeah.
Bumi, did you It sounds like you had like a relatively quick period where you got a lot better. Is that true?
From my point of view, it was not. It was a very steady growth for
Okay.
now 10 years.
Compared to a lot of people, it was pretty quick. But it was a steady increase. But
I believe, yeah, from the outside perception, it was very quick. But a lot of that is, I think I make, like when I learn, it is a concentrated, just exactly like what you're doing. You are now choosing to like be a better learner by going out, getting
Mm-hmm.
advice, breaking down things. Like there's footage from the very first time John filmed me. Um, I think 7 years ago now
yeah,
in Alessandro's backyard. And that was the first time I ever filmed. So that's like 7 years ago or something. And he
Yeah.
pointed out, oh, you always put your feet together. I was like, yeah. The people at my local practice taught me to put my feet together when someone throws at my feet. And he was like, yeah, that's just how I kill you. Because every time you stand up tall and you put your feet together, and I just redouble and kill you. Um, it's very consistent. And I was like, oh, look how
Right.
useful video is. And then just implemented it ever since.
it was a lot of fun.
Yeah, yeah,
Those are the good days.
yeah.
Those
Yeah.
are the good old days. Yeah.
And since then, like I've like kind of figured out in my head ways to beat John, and he figured out ways to beat me, and we just kind of go back and forth
Yeah.
Right.
No,
and
it's been
sharpen our skills and
Yeah.
stuff.
Dude, I
generally
love that kind of rivalry.
Mm-hmm.
it's super fun. Yeah. No, and Boomy are probably like the biggest rivals, honestly.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you guys know Marcus? John, you fought him at Pensick, though I'm sure
Um,
you fought many.
I'm sure if I remember, I don't. The name is not. I'm blanking on the name. If you give me
That's
like,
that's right. He's a lefty. I think you guys fought in the best of the world, like semifinals or something. But
oh, okay,
anyway,
the left was he the lefty wearing? He was wearing black.
yeah, like black. Yeah. Yep.
Yes. Okay, I do. I know what you're talking about. Yes.
Yeah. Over the last like year or so, he and I have practiced regularly, and we keep like um I'll get better than him, and then he'll get better than me, and then I'll get better than him, and we'll just keep pushing
That's
each other
so
up that
good.
way.
I love that.
That's
Yeah.
great. Yeah. That's what. That's how me and my brother were all coming up,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That's
and then
how
that's how Boomy and I've been
Torse
since.
and Golfred and I for armored fighting. Basically
Yeah.
through COVID,
Yeah.
we only hung out with each other
It's
and fought a lot.
it's super
I love
fun.
it. Mm-hmm.
You need those kind of people in your life to really push
Yeah. Absolutely.
you. What should we look at next?
So that's actually, I've only got a few more minutes
Okay.
tonight,
Yeah, sounds
but
good.
thank
No
you
worries.
guys for reviewing this all with me.
Yeah,
Of
Really
course. Yeah.
appreciate it.
it was great. I hope that you got something out of it, something to think about. This will be on the Twitch channel, and I'll make a VOD and post it to
Cool.
the YouTube channel as well. So
Cool.
you can go and review it at any point if you're like, what did they say again?
Appreciate it. Do either of you have any parting thoughts, things you think I should take with me from this?
Oh, John, you first.
Based on the video, I would say, and Boomy probably said the same thing, but I'm gonna say like work on making your parry smaller and moving your feet a little better, like giving yourself a little more space, and then tightening your parries up. I think that would jump your win percentage up like quite a bit.
With the footwork, you said moving my feet better. Like specifically, what would that look like, do you think?
Generally, just back, right? Like if someone attacks you, parry, step back.
Gotcha.
Just being a little more careful and giving yourself a little more range to work with. I think that will help a lot.
No, I'd agree that is the biggest return on your investment for time right now. Like you'll see the biggest tournament results for your time practicing those actions. And I'll give you a little bit of specifics. When you step back, I want you to step back such that they have to, their deepest lunge can maybe touch you. Think about it like that. That's your estimation. And then your parry should be a parry of a person who is at full extension. It's a straight line. So your parry barely
Right.
has to go off the edge of your body, if that makes sense. You're just pushing their blade a couple inches past your body. Don't parry as if they may follow up. Just parry as if they're at the end of the range because you're practicing to move your feet to put them at the tip end of their range, their potential range.
Right. Yeah, that makes sense.
Practice
Cool.
those two things, and then practice following back in, and just have somebody throw shots at you make them give you their deepest lunge, and you just kind of step back, let that sword stop, an inch before it touches you, and at the same time parry just outside your body, and just step right back in. Don't even lunge at them. Just literally step back, step in, step back, step in. Just get those reps.
Gotcha.
Do it with a training partner first. Have them speed up their lunge attack over and over time, and then start to have them step in at you as you step back, and then lunge, so you have to step back again.
Oh.
Yep.
Also, film as much if you're fighting as you can,
Mm-hmm.
because being able to review it, like, it's so valuable, like we've discussed.
Yeah, check again in a month. See if you have now been able to not drop your weight and stay planted, but are more willing to step back, and forward as necessary.
Right.
Just over and over.
Yeah, I need to stop doing that wide stance.
That wide stance where you drop your hips and are ready to like basically stand your ground and fight it out.
Yeah.
Is probably very successful for like 80-90% of humans, because you're good with your timing of when to do it, but it freezes you in place for the other people who can follow up and hit you.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, I think it works if someone makes an attack, then I plant and they reset, because then I'm in a really good position to attack as they're resetting.
Yes.
But if they don't do that, I'm just done.
Yes. I think you can move yourself with your feet and just be in your starting guard at every point. Basically every time you're moving your feet, you're in your starting guard, which means you can do anything you want from that point. And that's the ideal.
Yep. I agree with that.
So. Cool.
All right. Thank you guys so much for the feedback. Yeah.
Of
this
course.
has been great.
Yeah.
It was great
No problem,
talking.
Yeah.
Have a good night.
Cool. All right. Have a good night. Take care.
Yep. Later. Bye. Chat. For those who are out there, I'm curious, do you think there's other things that you would have suggested as the best return on investment for Robert's practice time?
It's a good question.
While you all are pondering and typing that, John, is there anything else you want to go over? You got any new footage to watch?
Not. Didn't you just post a bunch of new Rapier stuff?
I did. Let me pull it up.
Is any of that worth it?
I don't know. I didn't film it. This was Coronation. I was not able to go. I was working that day.
It also looks like some Lord Baltimore stuff too.
And I posted some Lord Baltimore stuff. Yeah. That I haven't. I have more Lord Baltimore stuff to post. I haven't looked at any of it. Actually, I should start posting that. That's on my phone. I have 10 more Lord Baltimore videos I haven't.
Yeah. I asked Duke Sven about whether he'd be interested in being a guest, doing a heavy fighting review session with us sometime, and he said he was interested.
That'd be awesome. I'd love it.
So trying to figure out time to do that. But
are you in chat to be able to watch stuff?
yeah, I have the stream open, so I can just watch the stream.
Awesome.
It's like I feel like a couple second delay, but it's not too bad.
Okay. Yeah, I was just I just posted some of the random footage I took at Lord Baltimore's. I was just trying to get some footage at all because there was no one filming whatsoever, and I thought it was good content.
It's unfortunate.
And then there is Coronation.
I feel like filming those kind of events is a good advertisement for in future years.
Yeah, absolutely. To me, it is. It is just kind of storybooking some of the shit I've done in my life, which I think is very.
But it's also too. It's nice to have a record.
Yep. If it happens to have use in the future, great. If not, that's okay. What is this? What is happening here?
Chat thinks we had good advice.
I appreciate the chat. Thank you. All right, we're gonna watch some stuff. Oh, that's loud. Sorry. Oh, it's Talia and Navain. Do you know them?
I do know both of them.
It's like Talia.
Talia wintered down here last winter.
Ulfar and Ginny.
I heard she is getting her laurel, right?
Yeah. At golf. So I'll be there in line.
That's awesome.
And congratulating her for her first peerage.
You're not cool like you would too.
I'm sure she'll get there. She seems like the kind of human who would
Yeah, I think so
who
too.
do the work.
Yeah. Is that Eckhart?
Yeah, that was Eckhart in there. He just got his GOA.
I saw that. That's awesome.
Yeah.
He's a cool dude.
Yep. I think he has kind of the same issue a lot of more athletic humans have, which is a lot of results quick, because of good timing and okay footwork. But he is, and I'm the same. Was the same way for a long time, missing the nuances of blade mechanics.
Yeah, I think that definitely happens with people who are coming from another sport background or another fighting background. Like they have a lot of the basic stuff, but a lot of the nuances of the specific weapon they do not have. Right. Who is the fighter that's not JG?
The right-handed human?
Correct, yes. Who's that?
That's a great question. I don't recognize the kit.
Yeah, I know a lot of people in Atlantic, but I do not recognize them. Yeah.
There's a number of people who came out from the it's Trian, East Trian, who came down, who moved down.
East Trian. Okay, yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, East Trian. I was like, that does not look like the way Atlantean fights, or at least one that I recognize.
Yeah,
that makes sense. East Trian, yeah, as opposed to our Trian.
Yeah,
like the Condat Trian, specifically.
Even though he lived in the East for a little bit too.
Yeah, he did. Yeah, he still goes up there a lot for work. I think he works in New York a bunch. Chat, if there's any videos you want us to review, pop it to just copy paste. We're just kind of shooting the shit right now. John.
Yes.
This was from, they did a bunch of free sparring at LBC, which I thought was pretty cool. It's like people picked fights with each other. But he rebranded it Lord Baltimore's College, and ran classes on Saturday, and it had pretty loose woven free sparring on Sunday. But I think I like the format a lot, like even without the big tournament.
Yeah. Part of the reason I didn't like try harder to go out this one this year was because there was no big tournament.
Yeah. I get the draw. I mean, you gotta get some revenge after I took it from you last time. Took more tournament to win.
You didn't win any tournaments, but you did have better results overall. Yes.
Yeah. Well, we were talking about who's gonna win more of the things.
Yeah. This is a good pair
of pretty? That's here. So pretty from Ishmael.
The classic lefty bullshit, but I like it.
Yeah, this cross parry.
I also hate the blue fighter's dagger being behind him in that lunge.
He went full modern fencer in the dagger. It just left the scene of the defense.
It's like one of my biggest pet peeves. Especially because I think I spent so many years trying to not do that.
Yeah.
When I see people do it, it always pops out at me.
Also, I don't like, you look at his balance. Like the lunge here should have stopped. Yeah. Like that lunge should have been here and recovery already starting. But losing the balance, falling over the back foot. Dagger coming in way too late. Unfortunate.
Yeah.
Such a life.
That is such a pretty parry riposte, though.
I don't know the fencer in blue at all. I believe they are HEMA. So,
based on their gear, that would be my guess too. Interesting.
The back weighted?
Just that last attack tacked the weapons a little bit.
I think he got touched in I did hip or the leg right there. Ish did.
Oh, his phone is in his pocket still, I think.
Oh, yep. I think it's just outside then. Might have been fabric or something. It is maybe just outside the line. It's hard to tell.
Mm-hmm.
Oh.
You see video in someone posted a video in chat.
All right, Cyrus. Let's take a look.
Oh.
Did you not read the name?
Oh, that is Cyrus. You're right. Yeah. I wasn't paying attention to the names. No.
All right. This is 22. Okay.
Oh, look, it's me. Let's see.
I think you did a pretty good job of staying low on your cross step back, Cyrus. Because one of the big things that happens to most people when they get spooked, myself included, Tora included, is that you stand up a little bit more upright. In this specific case, getting spooked by John in the context of a champs fight is a pretty big spook, and I think you did a really good job of staying like there's a good bend in your knees, do that cross step back.
Yeah, I agree with that.
The parry I think could have been smaller and succinct.
I wonder if he was trying to turn that into like a tip cut across. So like bringing that parry up and then also could throw like a cut if he's leaving.
Like a Molinet or like a tip cut up?
Yeah, like a tip cut up across my neck, I think was what maybe the idea was. I don't know. We don't do tip cuts in LCR, so I don't know the meta. It doesn't.
Yeah. Chat. Was that a tip cut up? Intended false edge. Okay. Got it.
Yeah, okay. That's kind of what I was thinking.
So right there, that's the false edge coming upward, looking for the neck. And a reset with that Molinet. This is what we were talking about earlier. Like when John gets spooked, he does the same thing, which is manage measure.
Yep.
That was a good entry step and a good follow-up thrust. Yeah, that was pretty. Look at your pump step thrust. All right, let's break down. Right, okay. Yeah, that's that standing tall I was talking about. Of actually getting spooked and standing tall. All right, so what could have been done better? A couple of things. This is from the experience, in my case, the experience of fighting against John. That is an experience he can't give. So I'm going to give you that much.
Sure.
One, that foot shot was a good foot shot. I think you could have done a balestra step, like kind of a jumping step with that that foot shot and caught him, because your timing on that was really good. But instead of just the reach and the lean, like with the lunge, like you're doing a nice lunge and a lean forward with the lunge, try to hit it right here. If it were me throwing it, I would have pushed off that back foot, jumping forward. Then that includes bringing my back foot with me and then throwing that shot. So that land, knowing that he's going to spook backwards. At that point, I would have the chance to either redouble forward again and have a closer measure, or have the chance to eject because he has figured out the timing and jumped back at me. That's one. I think that was a good opportunity there. Being nitpicky in your fight. Right here, when you are lunging to attack, I think you're more heavy on your front foot than you should be. That's my belief, because this freezes you in place, so it's hard for you to go backwards. If you were to throw into this, you have to like upright yourself this way and then move back, which in function isn't a big amount of time, but in the context of fencing, it is very slow. In the context of the fraction of a second that sometimes these actions take. Yeah, the upright to then push.
One thing you can do if you get caught too far, and I do this a lot, you get caught too far over your front foot on a lunge, is instead of going straight back by pushing, just straightening that knee, because that's like a lot of momentum to go forward and back, you kind of go back at a slight angle to your sword side. So if you've lunged over and you're over too far of that weight, if you kind of let yourself fall sort of sideways and back, that kind of elliptical motion recovers
so you mean like
faster.
a dip? If your hips would do a slight dip and then come back up? Is that what you mean? Okay.
Yeah. So you're not going straight back and forth. You're kind of going to the side. That way it kind of the motion, you can kind of keep your momentum going rather than just going forward and back straight. That like elliptical motion causes it doesn't, it just seems like it works better, I think, because it's not as, you don't have that moment. You're not changing all of your weight from going forward to back because you're going a little bit side, turning a little bit of side motion into it by dipping the hip that way.
John, what do you think you were doing to set up the kill, and how would you counter it yourself?
This kill, it looks like that I just do a step. I do that entry step to get the measure and then throw, if I'm correct.
Yeah. Do you think you are like both of you are too close to each other to start? Like you're allowing, or he's allowing you into that explosive lunge measure?
I think that's the main thing. I mean, I'm gonna almost always say that it's range. If I can throw that like real quick headshot, it's as if you let me get too close.
Yeah.
Because there's really not a lot to it except that I'm relatively fast, right? And so if you let me get to a range where I can throw that shot, you probably just don't have enough time to react to it. Not like any like and maybe just that, like, because human reaction time is like there's a cap on it, right? And so if you let someone get too close to you, they can just throw a shot faster than you can react, and that's just like a universal thing, right? And so if you're just getting popped in the face without moving, you've just let someone get too close to you.
Yeah. I think I'd agree.
And a lot of times I fish for that range, and so I'll do a step like back and forth until usually someone will make a mistake and stand too close, and then I can initiate my attack.
Yeah. Overall, I don't think it was that bad.
No, I agree.
Yeah, that might have been a thinking tempo. I was also say you were very twitchy up until that moment, and it might be that you were just inside your head for just a second, and unfortunately that second cost you valuable backup time. I think all of us are guilty of that. I know I've killed John on a thinking tempo before.
100%. 100%.
And vice versa.
Yeah. It was a good fight, though.
Of course. Thank you for hanging out. I appreciate it. John, what I intend to do is I want to post the rest of the Lord Baltimore stuff. I'll probably push it out to some of the HEMA sites that want to watch it, in case some of those folks want to watch it. I still have to push the coronation out to some of the people who might be interested, because I don't think I haven't publicized any of this stuff. I just got around to uploading a little bit today.
Yeah, I just saw it.
Yeah.
pop up on my YouTube feed.
Yeah. But I say all this because I want to ask you, do you have interest in editing things? I didn't know if you've been working the last couple months or you've been not doing work for money things.
I've not been doing a lot of work for money things right now. I'm busy. I'm kind of I'm house sitting for some of the next 2 weeks though. So I will not be at home very much.
Do you have a laptop?
I do have I have a really crappy shitty laptop.
You should you should invest in like one good laptop.
Yeah.
Because you plan on traveling a lot, and if you can edit on that, that means you can do work wherever you go.
That is the on the list.
Because I think I would like that's something we can talk about off stream as far as specifics, but pay you to sort through some of this massive footage that I have and make some edits and clips and put that.
Oh sure, yeah. There. We could talk about that, yeah. If I can get the right equipment, which is something that I want to do anyway, then yeah, I'd be down to do that.
Yep, I think that it would be worth it for both of us, to be honest. For me to, I just don't have the time to do the work to really get a lot of stuff out there. At least right now. Also, these last couple of weeks have been Crown focused.
That is understandable, yeah.
Can you hear the ambulance that just went by?
I did, yeah.
Okay. It's very loud on my end, but I don't know how much it came through, Mike.
It was very background. Like I could kind of hear it in the background, and it was only like two. I heard like 2 sirens go. Like,
okay.
It was very brief.
Okay. So your relative experience was pretty quiet.
Yeah.
Awesome. Good to know.
That's probably pretty good, right?
Yeah. No, that's exactly what I wanted. I wanted a mic setup that could hide all the nonsense that I listen to here.
Yeah. Out in your little murder shed.
Yeah. And it's exactly that. Dude, it's so good. I love it. I've got people coming over. Did I tell you that I may be taking a cadet and maybe
no, you didn't tell me.
No. All the info's on the download still, so I'll give you more. This is a tease.
Tease.
So a lot of stuff. I'll make make public stuff about all of it when it comes time.
Sure, yeah. But you have to tell me off stream who it is.
Yeah. Chat, thank you for hanging out tonight. Hope all of you who watch this get something out of it. If you're watching this on the VOD or on YouTube, please send us submissions. We would be happy to do VOD reviews for you based around specifics that you want to go over. John and I enjoy doing this. This is our pastime.
That's what we love.
Yeah. Cool. Catch you all later. Bye.
Bye.